Pranav Gundlapalli, Senior Research Analyst at Stanford Bernstein, joins us on the show right now. Pranav, hi, morning. Thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us so early in the day. But just wanted to get your first thoughts in. What is it that you make of this last salvo by VSS of stepping down?
Hey, morning. See, I think on this step, I think it's again an attempt to distance the 197 entity from the PPBL entity, right? So, in the spirit of maybe being late is better than being never, I think there is an attempt to set that up as an independent entity with limited linkages to the 197 entity. I think that's the objective, and this also probably sets the stage for making more changes at PPBL, right? So they've reconstituted the board. They could probably bring in a bunch of strategic partners. But would it matter for the listed entity? Maybe not, right? I think it's clear that there will be severing of ties between the two entities. And what is priced in right now is essentially that the products which were being housed in the PPBL will go away. And that will not be available on the Paytm app. So I think that part is largely priced in. So this is more of, I would say, from a listed entry perspective, largely an option value at this stage. If something happens to PPPL, then yeah, I mean, on a positive front, then that will be a positive surprise for the market.
The regulator will take cognizance of the fact that the management of Paytm and in this case also PBFL, they in a sense want to fix the problem. They want to really set the right narrative with RBI.
See, I think at this stage, it will take a long time for any change or relaxation to happen. I don't see that happening immediately. So I think it's literally, they'll start with nothing but more than a license at this stage. So you have to rebuild the entire narrative with PPBL. So I don't think it's anything positive as such for the 197 entity at this stage. What is more important is establishing that the problems are limited to PPBL, because I think a lot of the action, the price action that we've seen in the last month is based on assumption that the problems will spill over into the 197 entity. And I think the regulatory updates have kind of confirmed that it will largely stay within PPBL. It doesn't really spill over into the 197 entity. And this just reinforces that divide between the two entities.
Pranav, I was just going through some notes, and Macquarie, for instance, talks about how the lending business might be under threat because the partners are now rethinking their relationship. We've already seen that the number of downloads and the merchants which were subscribing to Paytm have actually moved down. Do you think this is a structural change in the business model now, and this is something which is not easy to repair, the people who have moved out?
See, the lending partners staying out, in my view, is largely a function of the payment volumes staying or going away, right? So if the payment volumes remain unimpacted, there's no reason why the lending partners wouldn't come back, right? So I think that's the only risk that they look for. There was no linkage with PPBL even to start with. So I don't think that's PPBL going away is a big reason for lenders to stay away. From our interactions and also from the app usage data that we see, the merchant attrition is fairly minimal, right? So I think you're talking about less than 5% attrition in the daily usage volumes for the Paytm app. So once the company is able to establish that their volumes are 90-95% of what it was in the before Jan, I think the lending partners will come back. So I don't think they had any issue with the quality of loans, nor was there a dependence on PPBL. So I do expect them to come back once the volumes have been established.
Paytm is also trying to have partnerships with other banks. Can you just break it for our viewers? What is the importance of that? What is the meaning of that?
See, the 197 entity of Paytm relied on PPBL for processing its UPI transaction. It acted as a PSP. PPBL acted as a PSP, or a payment service provider. Now, with that relationship set to expire in March, mid-March, they're looking for other partnerships. It's something similar to what their competitor PhonePe did when Yes Bank was going through stress. They migrated into several other banking partnerships. Something similar is going to happen here. So we think it is important because given the volume of Paytm, it is important to have more than one partner. So having a 3 or 4 partners makes complete sense. And it's not And this doesn't involve any sort of KYC or any sort of risk for the bank itself. So, most of the banks should be happy to jump on as partners or as provide a PSP service for Paytm.
The mainstay for Paytm, in a sense, of course, is their loan syndication or loan distribution. That's where the MDRs are actually the highest, about 3.5% to 4%. Do you see that getting affected at all?
Not really. If the payment volumes stay intact, I don't see that getting affected.
But you see this as a positive move, right? I see your outperformed rating with a 600 price target.
Oh, yes, I think it's positive. I think from the bottom that we saw, I think what is driving the stock up is incremental news flow confirming that all the problems are restricted to PPBL. And 197 will continue its UPI payments, which is anyway 70% of the payment volumes. As long as that gets resolved and that remains unimpacted, I think there is a significant upside from here.
Okay, got that. Thanks as always for taking the time out. Good speaking with you this morning.
Thank you.